Hello there and welcome to the most watched business show in the country. This is the Business Weekly Show here on Citi TV and I am your host, Michael Obodu. In the next 1 hour, I'll be bringing you a wrap of all the major business news stories for the week. So if you're ready, let's go. Imagine dealing with the constant increases in fuel prices and having to also struggle with access. That will not only be frustrating, but also overwhelming. But the Institute of Energy Security, IES, is projecting this could be the case soon, and it says the depreciation of the cedi is a contributory factor.
Fuel prices at some fuel stations have crossed the 8 Ghana cedi per litre mark in the first week of March 2022, with predictions that the commodity will sell at 9 Ghana cedis per litre by close of the month. The National Petroleum Authority, that's NPA, has already said discussions are ongoing with the Ministries of Finance and Energy to find a manageable solution to the persistent rise in fuel prices. It said the deliberations will focus largely on the possible removal of some taxes on petroleum products. However, the Institute of Energy Security believes
international oil price is going up and your working capital is not being replenished by the banks. Last year in June, the price per metric ton was $600. Today, it's $1,200 for the same metric ton because the rising international oil price is also squeezing your working capital. So both the rising international oil price and the depleting, cedi against the dollar is impacting on their working capital. And so if they don't get additional capital, it means that they can bring less of the fuel that they need to bring into the system. If the situation continues and is sustained, of course, bear in mind that we are likely to see fuel shortages because the importers are bringing less than they used to bring because their working capital is depleting.
The country could experience a fuel shortage in the coming days.
We don't have a shortage. The shortage is not imminent. Once credit moves, we must understand that this industry is not the first time we are actually seeing prices around $1,000 per metric ton. What we just have to do is anticipate that and make sure that we move credit alongside the same levels that are required to sustain supply. We've already had engagements and been proactive about this. We've been engaging the central bank to deal with the issues of FX supply that also affects us. We've also been engaging the NPA and also engaging the banking and then the international oil trader to find ways to deal with the credit crunch that we may face because of the rising prices. But these are things that we have effectively, so far, anticipated and made provisions for.
Still on the fuel price increases conversation, drivers of ride-hailing apps in the Ashanti region embarked on a sit-down strike over what they describe as unfavorable working conditions. The drivers say despite the rise in fuel prices, the companies they work for have not made any adjustments to the fares riders pay, a situation they say is negatively affecting their finances.
These online drivers on Thursday turned down many requests via ride-hailing apps by customers seeking to patronize their services. This is not the first time they are raising concerns about conditions relating to their operations.
We have 4 major concerns. That is, we have the higher commission that the companies are taking from us, and then the low fares that they are charging, and then the driver insecurity that we are facing in this country, and unexpected blocking of the driver's account. These are the 4 major issues that we want to address. One concern is that we are partners, but bet you me, if we have problem that we want to contact them at their offices, that one also is another problem. Why are they hiding? You are coming to work in a country where you have your license that you're operating in the country, but you are hiding. You see, why? That is the problem that we are asking. None of us can trace their offices. You go there, they deal with us online, they are saying that because of COVID here and there. But in this country, yes, we know that COVID is around, But they were here before COVID came. So where is their officers?
So how did you petition them?
So that is the problem. They know what they're doing. That's the reason why they don't want to open their doors to us.
Makwaji will be car. Nippon, so at the end of the week, or Ginny says. Now, may ye Jumano na request to be bana Emuwa. To say be 22 minutes, 25 minutes. I met my driver call on the Muwa and Timenko. Now say me cancel no, and I say rider no cancel now. Both for say I didn't my cancel no my blocking me. Mo blocking me so car when I no so be Ginny says. Until the man say I will use another account. Say my day. Make create another account because we can easy.
The services of online drivers have become a preferred choice for many in Kumasi, but concerns about driver insecurity, among others, is a major worry for the drivers.
We bet my request. Or say was the firm S. We bet my request or see A. We bet my request or say MC. BBC. I will find out who the panel baby be. As will be anywhere me GDC S and M and MC. And yet, Dean be a tunipa. I told him the air person up for the boy and say, I and say, and Yedman say. And you pan a person yet, I'll download the app now. Kaya Swam say, how many pan use Ghana card, you know? Ghana card, you know, and find ye and emotion. Now you say request in a bam and once a be a crown and himself Ghana card not their register.
With a persistent increase in fuel prices, their operations are undoubtedly affected since it impacts their profit margins.
Sikana beba ohono fu agini nyina untibi nyeses nti ye besre se yentum emaye na niema e wose omuye betima boaye ame ye adwuma na ma adwuma na tumpon no I think say eboaye nyina ana promo no so no uje kura na botu ntia unya ho hwe.
For these drivers, conditions must be improved to keep them within the space.
It's not just fuel prices that are increasing. The cost of building materials are following suit too. I learned the situation is even worse when it comes to iron rods and is mainly due to the recent depreciation of the Ghana Cedi plus happenings on the international market. This is posing a major challenge for people within the construction space. How is all of this affecting vendors, contractors, and people seeking to put up buildings? This video has the details.
Iron rods are considered critical materials in building construction due to the fact that shortfalls in the quantity or quality of the products for some stakeholders could shorten longevity of buildings as well as trigger possible building collapses. A visit to some iron rod retail shops revealed that the prices of the product have increased astronomically by over 20% in less than a month. A high tensile iron rod, which used to sell for 5,900 Ghana cedis per ton in early February, is now selling for 7,600 Ghana cedis per ton. This represents an increase of about 30%. Also, a mild steel iron rod, which used to sell for 4,600 Ghana cedis per ton in early February, is now selling for 5,700 Ghana cedis per ton. This represents a 24% increase. Samuel Megaibo is the Executive Secretary of the Ghana Real Estate Developers Association, GREDA. He confirms to me the hike in the prices of the product and what is accounting for the sharp increases.
I sincerely think that the prices of materials escalating actually started somewhere in December 2020. I think in December we heard of iron rods going up around 42%. I mean, it was so sudden. We didn't have any warnings. Just woke up one morning and saw the prices escalating. And when you ask the people, they were saying that because of COVID, most of the productions have closed or shut up, or they have reduced their output. And so the few people that are selling are those who are not taking advantage of the situation. But it hasn't stopped. Between then and now, we keep hearing of increment a month later. Sometimes within weeks, we get prices adjusted within 2 weeks. Yesterday, I went to Antis. It's one of the companies that sells cement and iron rods. I sent my project manager to go and buy some rods. And the average increment over there was between 22 and 27% across, on iron rods,
Individuals building their homes who have to cough up extra money to complete their buildings around this time are equally facing some difficulties. I spoke to one who shares her experience with me on grounds of anonymity.
We bought iron rods, cement, nails, and binding wire for the iron rods. In October, when we asked, the 16 mm was 60 cedis something. But then about 3 days ago, when we checked the gate, normally we check the prices so that we know where we are going as we are saving. When we asked 3 days ago, we were told it is 81 cedis 50 pesos for 16 mm. Then we realized that if you are saving and saving, you are not getting anywhere. You better come and buy and save the next price increase.
But what can be done to reverse the trend? Currently, Ghana spends over $3 billion to import iron rods into the country. As part of efforts to reverse the trend, Samuel Amegaibo is advocating a more deliberate push to check the ever-increasing importation of iron rods into the country, among others.
I have been arguing that government has a lot to play when it comes to some of these things. We don't see much of government support for local industries to produce locally. If COVID has not taught us anything at all, COVID has taught us that we should look inward for most of the things that we need, produce what we can, and then use what we produce locally. But we don't seem to get that kind. I don't see that kind of synergy and that support for beefing up the local industry. And construction right now, I mean, on the scale, we are doing our 70% importation for all the things that we need for our housing, and then only about 30% locally. So if we don't do something to cause a paradigm shift from the percentage ratio, we are going to suffer and going to continue to depend on foreign importation. Then anytime there are foreign shocks, we'll bear it. So we need to do something.
President of the Ghana Real Estate Developers Association, Patrick Bonfo, also spoke to City Business News on what can be done to salvage the situation.
We are saying that we should go back to use local building materials. And specifically, as an association, we have been championing the idea if we can go back to using bricks, either bank bricks or in my best option is the hydraulic, compressed bricks, which is called the interlocking bricks system. It uses less cement, it uses less iron rods, and so on and so forth. And the building inside of the rooms are cooler. The bricks are stronger than the concrete, blocks and so on. And it uses more of laterite. And laterite is very cheap. A whole trip of laterite will cost you about 20 cubic, will cost you about 1,000 Ghana cedis. And so you can imagine that if we can shift just the way we do our things, we'll be able to counteract the effect of this harsh, prices of materials that is affecting us. Yeah.
So with this development, what then are the likely solutions? The Ghana Real Estate Developers Association, GREDA, believes the government ought to make some tax components of building materials fixed. GREDA argues that this will help stabilize the prices on the markets.
With projections that the price of a 50-kilo bag of cement is expected to be increased from the current 45 Ghana cedis to 55 Ghana cedis per bag from next week, the Ghana Real Estate Developers Association, GREDA, believes the percentage of the tax component of the prices of building materials should be fixed. Executive Secretary of GREDA, Samuel Amegaibo, tells the City Business News this move will help stabilize future prices.
Some of our taxes also, I think, are some of the problems. Any tax component on a material that is percentage based definitely means that when the prices go up, the percentage addition of the taxes will also go up. So when the price hikes hit us some time back, one of my arguments was that one way a means by which government can do something about the prices is to look at those taxes that are percentage based of the price and either make them flat rates so that at least the effect of the increments will not be affected. I don't think anything was done in that area. So it still gives us room and an opportunity to begin to implement this. I mean, when the forces that are driving the price increments are not local and that they are international, there's very little one can do. We may have to absorb it. But within those factors that we can work on within are those that will urge government to look at and begin to implement some measures to mitigate, at least to reduce the effect on us for the meantime.
According to Greda, the increment can be attributed to the depreciation value of the Ghana cedi, the recent hikes in transport fares, which has affected the movement of logistics and transportation of some of the raw materials from abroad for local production.
In fact, most of the time when cement prices go up, it has always been either dollar cedi exchange rate issue or freight. Currently, it has been freight because of fuel prices that the ships and those transportation means that bring these materials into the country are complaining about high cost in fuel and all that, and so they are charging a bit high because of that. So it is very relevant.
This development may impact prices of houses in the short term and the personal budget of many individuals who are currently putting up houses in the country.
We haven't exhausted the issue of increases in the prices of commodities because traders of food items in some major markets in the Ashanti region are also lamenting the astronomical increases in prices since the beginning of the year. They are distressed that it has negatively affected patronage of their goods. For us as consumers, we can't afford to go beyond our budget at the end of the day.
In recent times, prices of commodities such as tubers of yam, tomatoes, smoked fish, plantain, ginger, oil, sugar, and many others have witnessed high increments. As a result of this, consumers have raised a number of concerns. In a City Business News interaction with some traders during a visit to popular markets such as Racecourse, Swame, and Bantama markets, some traders complained about how the astronomical increases in prices are affecting sales. According to them, they believe the hikes in fuel prices have contributed to the increase in prices of food commodities.
Se say ya ye wo mu de ka wasen toast ne ba fom enso nam say ho no ma bebre ni ntino ama ebo ni da gina afi se fa no enso increase as say de ye hu kwan ya ye fa so ne po aye den ento si adwuma hoi ye di se fa sere me kan ya na wokọ near the ma 1 million kura eye 100 cedi Ghana cedis ne okoto na se wo check wo kura 100 boxes na wo the 1 million sefa eye 130 million kura na ade kwa akoto a ka hu se wo ban tos na ntimi me edai e ma fom jata okoto ba wo besese hu se de be ya wo de loro fe no eni ntos ni sika ye sefa kwaso nsoso so a ntos na ntimi ma fom
ba ne board efria say e ba ye mo no sa brisa mi de ne board e kwa toma ko si June July na ba ye mo na ba so we say ha me de ne board ne pa
na oba church de we ayi sitie we ye den
we ni ye dente ana we su ye puna na me say 250 then times me say 20 asu kuna ba ko 10
na ka enya sana ne boa ye den ka de 10
ke be 20 ke be 8 na 7 series ni ba ka
na period den
na 25 so ke be 20
they say if you this period period then I be conform na
you say the yanko form bi you say kwa na e kwosoro you say kwa ma eno no aba you say ne bo ne be dia kosi June
you say for na ya
and so ka ho bi na omo de nyina aka ho tama ne bo so sa ya ne aka ho eh lolly fam so we have a could be 1.5 mo de 1.5 we have a could be a e wo sire mo de ba 1.5 te be ka we ni ho na ma ne boy ade
e ka ne ba ira ye de gi bia wo ha no 10 million no e ne ba ira bia gi 20 million e bia gi 30 million se 30 million ku 300 ye de gi 20 million ku 200 se ba ne bo na cost no kan ka ne wo ni e bo pa e ne atudu fa ɛnani na atwam ade na kuafo ya ne nkofia a wo mu twa asuri na ne bo ayɛ dintimi sram wada wo tim sɛ wo mu sɛ bibi bo ayɛ da na mfiri yɛ efiri no mabo a petro no ani bo ayɛ dina ma bibi ekoso.
The traders thus want the government to put measures in place in order to ensure prices of food commodities are stabilized.
Yes, Rabbi. Sano man, Omontiaso. Na intos intimi mrama obiaso ne binto. Enti na ama intos ne bo no akosro sefa ne adraba fo.
Enti yesre sa akwanya abai. Sefa no aban ebetimi aboaye ama sefa no aba fom ama yetimi akotonto sini bi aba Ghana memwa ama Ghana men nyina so nyantosi edi yesra aban.
For imported goods like rice, sugar, vegetable oil, among others, the Queen Mother of Racecourse, Bantama and Swami Marcus, Nana Efia-Chewa, says she believes the conflict between Ukraine and Russia has contributed to the recent increases in prices of food commodities.
Last year and this year, Adia Anya and Zasaya Kakra, a year and more, 6 and 1. And so the enemy say, yes, in Tokwa, yes, or mine, be so. When Yanyama woman and Abby, common a boy. If it's a new tea and our master and Nade, Nebuan Yede, a cost. Ukrainian car. Last year, only this year, Nanka, a year. You sent to Kwana Bano, and our man, no pan, what could I win yabi? And the agent and now market says, here, which idea. Over on the bear 3 million, which now I near the 5 since I had it. At Tosso, I didn't know Bassa, you say, and to Kwana Nama win I had it.
Now, to addressing the issue of the economy, a former Minister of Finance, Professor Cedi, says the government must, as a first step, admit to the general public the current crisis the country is facing. He was speaking at the Independence Day lecture held at the Economics Department of the University of Ghana, Legon, on March 7, 2022.
The maiden Independence Day lecture was on the theme on the state of the nation's economy and politics 65 years after independence, the path to sustainable development and democratic consolidation. The keynote speaker for the lecture and former Minister of Finance, Professor Cedi, among other things, noted that resolving the current economic hardship will come at a cost, but such a cost should not overburden the vulnerable. Apart from urging government not to adopt solutions that burden future generations, Professor Cedi also advocated strongly for a national development plan. Professor Cedi finally noted that if the current crisis is not resolved with transparency and with input from other players like the opposition, it will turn into a catastrophe soon.
We are in a situation where we can't service the debt and still meet our obligations, including those who are vulnerable. That's where we are. I'm saying that the solution must involve a recognition that we have a problem. Now, the public, I'm saying we must level with the public. If you are telling the public that, hey, things are cool, you've never had it so good, we've done better than everybody did in the past, as if you are in a race to the bottom. If you are saying that, grandstanding and a profusion of hubris, that kind of, sounds as though there's no problem, okay. Then you don't have that political space. It is a matter of recognizing, understanding, and respecting the views of the dissident, if you like. Engaging in transparent and respectful conversation, and in the hope that even the opposition have some patriotism, that the issues they are raising are critical issues. That's where the transparency and the thing gets resolved. It must be a recognition. I don't want us to panic. I'm saying let's not press the panic button. But the crisis is here, and if it is not resolved, it will lead to a catastrophe. And we have an obligation to avoid a catastrophe.
The lecture attracted stakeholders from all walks of life. Two notable panelists, Associate Professor in the Department of Economics at the University of Ghana, Professor Bernard Odro, and Economic and Investment Consultant, Dr. Ni Kwekusoa, joined Professor Poultry to dissect his lecture. Commenting on the lecture and the subject of Ghana's economic issues, the World Bank Country Director for Ghana, Liberia and Sierra Leone, Pierre Laporte, noted that the country faces a tough road to restoring macroeconomic sustainability.
The country is in a very challenging situation, as you rightly said, and other colleagues on the panel have acknowledged that. It's a very, you call it a crisis. We can describe it in many ways. Like Madam said also, is it a really serious situation? The numbers speak for themselves. The situation is very serious. And at the World Bank, we've not hidden the fact that when we discuss with the minister, with other colleagues in finance and even with the head of state, that the situation is very difficult right now. Ghana faces a very tough road ahead to restore macro sustainability. Yes, COVID has not helped, but even before COVID, there were signs that situations was getting a little bit on the more challenging end. So the key thing is, as you say first, to be transparent to the people, right? Because yes, the figures speak for themselves, but not everybody is as educated as we are. Not everybody understands what these numbers mean. So it's important to talk about it as we're doing today, but especially what is the solution.
According to organizers of the lecture, the One Ghana movement, in partnership with the University of Ghana Department of Economics and School of Social Sciences, the lecture was designed to provide a constructive platform for engaging and shaping solutions for the socio-economic challenges and prospects of Ghana.
Still on addressing the country's economy, the World Bank Country Director for Ghana, Liberia and Sierra Leone, Mr. Pierre Laporte, says Ghana stands to benefit from going to the International Monetary Fund, IMF, if the country plans on going on an aggressive debt rescheduling program. On the other hand, he says Ghana may not need to go to the IMF if the government makes targeted efforts to restore the stability of the macroeconomy.
According to President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta and other government officials, government will consider homegrown solutions to deal with the current difficulties because the country has what it takes to turn its ailing economy around. The government, despite harsh criticisms, has said that the most prudent measure in the face of Ghana's ailing economy is not to go back to the International Monetary Fund, IMF, but rather rely on the e-levy, among others, to raise revenue domestically while cutting down on government expenditure. Some analysts have proposed seeking an IMF bailout as a better alternative amidst public disapproval of the e-levy, but the government has said it will have none of that. Meanwhile, the International Monetary Fund has stated that it is ready to support Ghana in any way deemed useful by the country's leaders amidst the economic challenges. It says Ghanaian authorities have not contacted it for any form of assistance yet. Commenting on whether or not Ghana should go to the IMF, the World Bank Country Director for Ghana, Liberia and Sierra Leone, Mr. Pierre Laporte, maintained that even though going to the IMF comes with its benefits, Ghana may not need to go to the Bretton Woods institution if government takes strong measures to restore macroeconomic stability.
We need IMF, really strictly speaking. Okay? Many countries in the world don't have IMF program, but they are performing very well. But the reality is different countries need IMF. That's why they were established in the first place. Today, there's a lot of debate I follow in Ghana. Some people think you should, some people think you should not. I think it's not right for me to comment on it, whether you should or should not. But like I said recently, there are advantages of working with IMF in these circumstances. For instance, if Ghana really wants to go in an aggressive or very serious debt rescheduling initiative now, it will help to have IMF on board, because most creditors would ask you, what is the program underpinning this debt relief that will ensure that macroeconomic stability is restored? At the same time, if government really takes strong enough measures to restore macro stability, then maybe it doesn't need IMF. I have to be careful because my IMF colleagues might think I'm undermining what they want to do.
Citi TV is live on DSTV. Go to channel 363. On GoTV, access Citi TV on channel 182. On a digital TV, please press the menu button on the remote control and run a new search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Citi TV on your television. Citi TV can be accessed on a free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and Star Times box. Citi TV, it's your world.
President Akufo-Addo says the economy is still vibrant and potent despite its immediate challenges. Ghanaians are currently battling with rising cost of living, largely attributed to a rising inflation, increase in fuel prices, and the depreciation of the Ghana cedi. But the president, speaking at the Ghana Day event put together by organizers of the Dubai Expo 2020 to showcase Ghana to the world, highlighted some indicators which, in his opinion, present a resilient Ghanaian economy.
It was exciting scenes as Ghanaian citizens residing and working in Dubai cheered the president as he graced the Ghana Day event at the Dubai Expo 2020. For some, it was a proud moment that a special day has been set aside by organizers of the Dubai Expo 2020 to recognize the potential and role of Ghana in the global economy. The president is accompanied by key government officers including Minister of Trade Alan Chamantin, Minister of Information Kojo Opon Nkrumah, and some CEOs of state institutions. Kennedy Japan, who is among the delegation, was mobbed by the Ghanaian community. The president took the opportunity to tout the vibrancy of Ghana's economy.
Through our 100 billion cedi economic recovery program, dubbed the Ghana Cares or Bantampa program, the economy grew at a provisional 5.2% in the first 3 quarters of 2021, with a projected growth rate of 5.6% for 2021. We appear to be on the path of sustained economic recovery. Today, we are the safest country in West Africa. We are the largest recipient of foreign direct investment in West Africa. We are ranked 3rd in the Ease of Doing Business Index in West Africa. We are the new commercial capital of Africa by virtue of our hosting of the Secretariat of the African Continental Free Trade Area. We are the 2nd largest cocoa producer in the world.
Despite challenges facing the economy such as cedi depreciation, rising inflation, and cost of fuel, the president believes the Ghanaian government has the potential to turn things around.
We still nevertheless have some important challenges, but we see these challenges as opportunities which serve as catalysts for growth and the realization of government's transformational agenda. This agenda is hinged primarily on creating space for the private sector to thrive, thereby growing the jobs that our young people need.
The Ghana Day event is part of a host of others that Ghana is using to climax its participation in the ongoing Dubai Expo 2020. The Expo, which started in October 2021 and expected to end on March 31, 2022, has brought together thousands of participants from over 190 countries. For the president, investors should explore the numerous opportunities that exist in Ghana.
We are a country where investments are secure and protected under a governance system where an independent judiciary upholds the rule of law and respect for private property rights. Ghana is ready for business. Ghana is a land of opportunity for private capital, which has taken it upon herself to build a business-friendly economy that will enable her get to the stage where she will help her build an optimistic, self-confident, and prosperous nation.
It appears Mr. President's visit and speeches may have yielded some result because he has succeeded in signing an agreement with the United Arab Emirates authorities, which will be mutually beneficial to both countries while helping the Ghanaian economy bounce back. Wondering what the details of the agreements are? We have the details in our next video.
The government of Ghana is aggressive in its quest to attract foreign direct investments using the ongoing Expo in Dubai as a platform. Already, the government has signed an agreement with the United Arab Emirates authorities to streamline the economic relationship between the two countries. Currently, about 64 UAE firms are said to be operating in Ghana, but it is the hope of the president to increase this number.
It's already an engagement has started, but we want stronger and stronger relations. We want the UAE to be one of our 2 or 3 most important trading and investment partners in the world. And that's why I'm coming here. And from what I've seen here, maybe I have to come here even more often to make sure that we do that. So the MOU that is going to be signed is giving, if you like, legal underpinning, legal framework to a phenomenon that has already began, which we want to accelerate and deepen. And we talk about 68 companies. Yes, 68 is a good beginning, but we this link that we are very, very determined to establish.
The United Arab Emirates authorities have pledged their support towards this drive. As a gesture, the Ghana flag was lighted at one of the tallest buildings in Dubai, the Burj Khalifa, to the amusement of the president. But on what principles is this trade relations anchored, and what are the targets of Ghana in this relationship?
Is openness. We are engaging. We want to talk to your investors. We want you to tell us what you want to see in Ghana to bring the bacon back home, as they say, or to bring the meat back home. And so we engage and looking for partnerships and linkages. Today, we are well positioned to once again drive the financial and economic progress of the continent through our various policies and through our positioning.
Dubai is noted as a choice destination for tourism, and this is reflected in a number of tourist sites and hotels. The Ghana Tourism Authority hopes to partner with investors in the sector.
For us, we're trying to position Ghana as a MICE hub, which is for business tourists. And so with that, we need a lot of accommodation facilities, conference facilities, and that becomes opportunities for investors. Within the supply side, we have 2 tiers for product development, so tourist sites, attractions, and we've been blessed with a lot of natural resources in the tourism space.
The government might be making some efforts in addressing the economic challenges in the country, but really, a country can only develop based on the volume of taxes citizens pay. This is why the Ghana Integrity Initiative, GII, wants women in the informal sector in particular to be sensitized on the need to voluntarily pay their taxes. GII believes those in the informal sector constitute a greater percentage of the working population, and as a result, if they are enlightened on the need to be tax compliant, Ghana's revenue generation drive will receive a significant boost.
The Ministry of Finance has identified tax evasion as a major hindrance to revenue generation in the country. The Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, last year expressed grave concern over how many Ghanaians are not paying taxes. As part of efforts to generate more revenue, government in its 2022 budget statement presented in Parliament introduced the Electronic Transfer Levy, e-levy, which is estimated will fetch Ghana over 6 billion cedis a year in revenue once it is approved. The e-levy has, since its proposal by the Finance Minister, however, received strong opposition from the general public, as many believe its approval will overburden the struggling masses. It is in line with this that the Ghana Integrity Initiative says it has become necessary for strategies to be put in place to educate the public on the new digitized tax system and voluntary tax compliance. The program's manager for Ghana Integrity Initiative, Mary Ada, spoke on the sidelines of a workshop organized to educate the media on the need to promote voluntary payment of taxes by businesses in the informal sector, especially women.
We are talking about innovation and technology with the various processes the tax agencies have put in place, and also around voluntary compliance, mobilizing citizens to be able to come up on their own to pay their taxes. Very important. And this is focused mainly on women in the informal sector. We are focusing on them because they constitute the greatest of the population who are working in a non-formal way. And we are talking about over 80% of the population of this country. So it's become imperative that we facilitate processes of not just getting them to register their businesses, but of them putting together processes that will aid them to do so, ensuring that they understand how the tax regime operates and the various platforms available for them to pay their taxes if they want to.
Mary Ada further wants government to be transparent with what the taxes are used for in order to encourage voluntary payment from the informal sector.
In every endeavor, we need to monitor. In every endeavor, we need to put information out there. If we are doing things and we do not communicate same, most definitely people do not appreciate our efforts. But if we are doing them and communicating same, then people would understand, appreciate, and be willing to be part of it. Government would have to tell us what it is using the taxes collected by GRE for.
A former Deputy Minister of Food and Agriculture, Dr. Ahmed Al-Hassan Yakubu, has lauded calls by the Private Enterprise Federation for the government to invest more into products and firms in which the nation has a competitive advantage on the continent. According to him, this will be used as a catalyst to secure a portion of the African Continental Free Trade Area market and ensure the country's competitiveness within the AfCFTA is increased.
The African Continental Free Trade Area, AfCFTA, which commenced on January 1, 2021, consolidates a market of over 1.2 billion people with a combined GDP of over $2.5 trillion. It is also expected to double Africa's manufacturing output to $1 trillion while creating 14 million jobs by 2025. Since the beginning of trading, Ghana's AfCFTA prospects are not far from bleak, as a few companies such as Casapreco Company Limited and Gandor Cosmetics have been able to ship consignments to other African countries via the AfCFTA platform amid several challenges. According to some business associations, such as the Private Enterprise Federation, PEF, if something is not done early, the nation might not only lose out, but will have its market flooded with goods from other African countries, thereby throwing its local enterprises out of business. They have charged government to invest more into products and firms in which the nation has a competitive advantage on the continent, as this will help boost Ghana's contribution to intra-Africa trade. Speaking during the sidelines of a sensitization program for the business community on the tenets of the AfCFTA, a former Deputy Minister of Food and Agriculture, Dr. Ahmed Al-Hassan Yakubu, noted that more must be done to ensure the nation's competitiveness within the AfCFTA is increased.
There's a certain tendency, because it's an Africa-wide market, there's a tendency for us to go there as individual countries and compete for the same small market, when in reality we would actually trade off space for ourselves. If Nigeria had a better competitive advantage in a particular commodity and Ghana wasn't that strong, why wouldn't Ghana cede off that space to Nigeria? And then Nigeria also leaves some space for Ghana because it is yet to be perfect in a particular commodity.
A Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, Nana Madokia Isiama-J, says the government is committed to rolling out gender-sensitive trade policies that will allow for women to take advantage of the opportunities that come with cross-border trade, especially with the African Continental Free Trade Area AfCFTA. That is one sure way of empowering women in the business community in Ghana.
Women constitute a major part of small-scale, informal cross-border traders who face major obstacles in moving their goods across the borders. These obstacles include lack of knowledge of border procedures and lack of finance, among others. As women all over the world are being celebrated, government is reiterating its commitment to increase the number of women groups in cross-border trade, especially in the African Continental Free Trade Area, and improve its responsiveness in gender-sensitive trade policy making. A Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, Nana Madokia Isiama-J, was speaking at a sensitization workshop for women in cross-border trade organized by the Ministry of Trade and Industry in partnership with GIZ Ghana.
It is worth noting that women traders can take advantage of the numerous market access opportunities presented by Ghana's international trade agreements such as the ECOWAS, EPA, Ghana, UK, AGOA, and NAFTA. It is also important to note that as part of AfCFTA Phase 2 negotiations, the Council of Ministers have received and approved the terms of reference to commence negotiations on protocol on women and youth. The expected benefits of the new protocol include the following: to mainstream and amplify the gains of women and youth-led businesses who predominate the MSME ecosystem of all the state parties to the agreement, to guarantee targeted approach for the provision of capacity building, investment, and advocacy to African micro and small-scale enterprises. And then the third one is to ensure that the AfCFTA works for African women and youth. This is an indication that at both national and continental levels, issues relating to women in cross-border trade is of high priority.
The coordinator for the Network for Inclusive Economic Development Cluster at GIZ Ghana further highlighted the need for women participation in all sectors of the economy.
We need to improve the training opportunities for women in cross-border trade. We need to improve the existing conditions and frameworks for micro, small and medium enterprises, which are mostly owned and managed by women. We need more women in customs, immigration and other border agencies to support women in cross-border trade. We need more women-friendly financial services for women in cross-border trade, not only in cross-border trade, but it's an important one. We need more men who will be gender champions for women in cross-border trade.
If you've heard of the BitCash currency exchange and you are planning on engaging their service, you might have to rethink that decision because the Bank of Ghana says it's a money doubling scheme operating in the country. According to the central bank, the scheme, which falsely claims to have its approval, is a fraudulent one.
A notice dated 8th March 2022 warns the general public that the Bank of Ghana has not licensed an entity called BitCash Currency Exchange or any other cryptocurrency exchange platform for that matter. According to the central bank, the fraudulent scheme does not reward investors as promised. It goes on to add that unsuspecting recipients of messages and hyperlinks about Bitcash currency exchange who subsequently click on the hyperlink or forward such messages compromise the safety of their funds, their WhatsApp accounts and other social media profiles, as well as those of friends and family on their contact list. The general public is thus advised to do the following when they receive such messages or hyperlinks. 1. Delete such messages upon receipt and desist from forwarding them to others. 2. Remove any member or members on social media platforms from whom such messages are received, as their accounts may have been compromised. 3. Verify with Bank of Ghana or other relevant authorities the licensing status of persons or entities prior to depositing funds with them or patronizing their services. 4. Place deposits only with institutions licensed by the Bank of Ghana in order that they may be accorded the necessary protection under the applicable banking laws. 5. Review and familiarize themselves with Bank of Ghana's notice on money doubling and card loading systems, which can be found on the bank's website. The Bank of Ghana finally urged the general public to report such illegal activities and illegal operators to it.
To some news I'm sure poultry farmers will be excited about, because the Ministry of Food and Agriculture has announced that the government has released about 20 million Ghana cedis to help in compensating farmers affected by the bird flu outbreak. This gesture, I'm sure, will help a lot of these farmers get back on their feet. Cases of the bird flu disease were previously recorded in Ghana in 2007, 2015, 2016 and 2018. But another outbreak of the disease was recorded in the country in January 2021 after the detection of similar cases in neighboring countries. According to the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, as of January this year, the outbreak, which occurred in 7 out of the 16 regions affected, over 700,000 birds, devastating many farmers in the process. Speaking at a press briefing on Wednesday, the sector minister, Dr. Efriyo Wusu-Akoto, stated that his outfit was committed to helping the poultry farmers get back on their feet.
As of now, government has released 20,105,718 cedis, 3 pesos, which was meant for the following activities. Details of the release amount is as follows: stamping out decontamination and disposal materials. 2. Compensation to currently affected farmers and some outstanding compensation from the outbreak of 2015 and 2018. Rollout. Number 3, rollout of a communication plan. These are the 3 measures. Following the release of part of the approved funds, it was observed that between July and December 2021, the number of farms and birds affected have doubled.
He further provided details on the category of farmers expected to benefit and the compensation structure.
To ensure all affected farmers from July to December 31st, 2021 receive some compensation for any losses incurred as a result of the outbreak, the ministry has agreed to pay 30 cedis for a matured bird, 20 cedis for a pullet, 10 cedis per chick, 80 cedis for a bag of feed, and 10 cedis for a crate of eggs, based on the amount available immediately.
As there appears to be a looming global challenge with access to fertilizer, the Chamber of Agribusiness Ghana is calling for a beefing up of the production of organic fertilizers locally. This, the Chamber argues, can conveniently be used as a substitute for the inorganic fertilizers which presently has supply uncertainties as the Ukraine-Russia war lingers. Key components for the manufacturing of the agricultural products are sourced mainly from Russia, raising concerns about access in the near future as the country continues to suffer various sanctions due to its conflict with Ukraine. The Chamber of Agribusiness Ghana believes the development is worrying, particularly for the food security of the sub-region.
What it means is that we, especially in West Africa, and for that matter in Ghana in particular, the immediate effect will be on shortages of fertilizer supplies to our farmers. And in the southern part of Ghana, this is the planting season. From now till May is the planting season, the cultivating season for all our grain and cereal crops. And so if we do not have the timely supply of these essential ingredients, which is part of the production process of food, to the farmers on time, it's going to affect production output. And when that happens, we are bound to face food insecurity. And what is going to happen is that not only this year, it is going to affect next year's production cycle as well, because most of the farmers saved from their production for the next season's production. And if they are not able to produce in large quantity, what it means is that they will need to resort to buying the seeds from other dealers.
Director of Policy and Research Bureau at the Chamber, Kojo Ahiakpa, stressed that looking inward is the ideal alternative under the circumstances.
As part of the Planting for Food and Jobs program, as part of that plan, government had a policy of helping individuals who have set up production lines to expand their production to be able to meet domestic demand for inorganic fertilizer, to be able to reduce our reliance on chemical fertilizers. Currently, we have the Accra compost plant, which also produces over 90 metric tons of compost fertilizers a day. And if we are able to help them to mop up production, that will be able to supplement the demand we have domestically. Not only that, we have other production lines that have come on stream, like the Arico Incorporated Biocompost plant was also one of them. My good friend Osobobi also recently established one that is also produced in that part of the country to also supplement local demand. I think it's a high time that government take a look at this deliberately and be able to help them scale up their production to be able to meet the shortfall.
Well, this is all time will allow us for this week's edition of the Business Weekly Show here on Cedi TV, your most watched business show in the country. For regular business news updates, our website, citybusinessnews.com, is there for you. And the business dashboard, which airs on Cedi TV at 10 p.m. sharp every weekday, with a repeat the following day at 7 and 10:30 a.m. My name is Michael Obodu. Please hit me up on Twitter at @mobodu. Catch you same time next week. Stay safe, stay informed. Bye-bye.